There we go. I was like, what happened this time? Alrighty. Hi guys. So I usually like set up at like 5 p.m. And today I was like, you know what? It's been working out so good. I'm gonna start a little bit late. So I started setting up at 5:30. And the stupid Windows thing said that like upgrade to Windows 11. And I'm like, yeah, sure, upgrade it in the background, whatever. And then it started fucking up. I was like, no, stop it. What the hell? Oh my lord. So literally within like we call it 5:50, I started resetting everything up and now it's working. Oh my god, Luke's here. Hello, Luke. Hello, how are you? Oh my god, it's like 1 a.m. there. That's amazing. So yeah, I finally set it up, everything's working. And then when the thing came up, I saw a black screen, like, oh no, what happened? But I forgot to add myself to the screen. So everything's all set. It's all good. We're good. The lights are on. It's all set. All righty. Whew. Oh my lord. All righty. So what's up with you guys? Let's see. Shane Ford says Blu-ray. When someone asks you when you're a 4K, you say yes. That's wonderful. Let me pull that up on screen because that's why I'm using StreamYard. There we go. Boom. And then we see that Luke is here. Hello, Luke. Hello. Hello. So first things first, before I start up the show. Um, I noticed some errors while watching the last stream because I'm sort of a mush mouth. I'm trying to get better at that. And there's some things that I don't know if I was clear about because I was watching it. I'm like, I don't know if that's clear. So when I say the Back to the Future movies are weak, I mean 2 and 3. First one's great. I think I kind of got that across. But when I was watching, I'm like, I make it sound like all 3 of them are weak. No. Just 2 and 3. Those are weak. What is the other thing? The Corey Burton dub was mentioned last week. Had no idea what that was. Did research on Fantasia. Turns out that narrator's original audio was completely unusable. Had no idea about that. And then so I found that out, the Corey Burton thing. And then another question was asked last week, action movie exhaustion. Now I realized when you asked that question, I knew there's 2 different answers. There's action fatigue, and then there's movie fatigue. A good example, movie fatigue would be Jurassic World Dominion, where there's just too much movie and you want the movie to get over with. That is movie fatigue. When something happens in the movie and you're like, oh my God, there's more movie left. That's movie fatigue. Speed kind of has that, even though I don't I appreciate it. I like the subway chase, but I think some people would say like, action fatigue for that. So I decided my answer would be for action movie fatigue would be Man of Steel. That I remember in the movie theater being completely miserable during that third act. The fight on the farm was okay, but then it builds to the fight in Metropolis, and that's just miserable. Yeah, so I wanted to answer that question from last week because I was really thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, that would be Man of Steel for action fatigue. And then I said Somebody's Fool or something. I said the title wrong for the Bruce Willis movie that's available in 4K. It's the Paul Newman movie. It is called Nobody's Fool. I got the title wrong. I misremembered it. And I just want to get those things across because as I was watching last stream, I was like, oh, I missed those things. Damn. Okay, so let's go to the comments. What do we have here? We have Luke Deckard. He is here. And then we have 11 p.m., but late enough. Don't correct me, Luke. When I say it's 1 a.m. there, it's 1 a.m. My lord. I'm off by 2 hours. Love the new Mario Brothers promo. Yes, I just watched it. I just retweeted that. The thing I find funny about that new Mario Brothers little promo is that they pushed a little toy van and it completely goes off the map, and then Luigi course corrects it. And that corrects me up because it means that they couldn't get it right, and that was the best take that he had to move the van anyway. I thought that was funny, and I'm guessing, I think that's Cyndi Lauper's voice, right? That would make sense because she was a Mario Brothers fan, you know. Let's see what else we got here. We have Filler Vision. Hi, Cade. How you doing? Howdy. Happy to be back with everyone. Yes, we have Cade Fisher. That is awesome. And then we have, hope you are all well. And then we have Luke. Action fatigue would be very every Transformers movie. Perhaps the third one. The second one, I kind of like the second one. I think if anything, it's human fatigue in Transformers 2, not action fatigue. It's human fatigue. Uh, um, let's see, Transformers 4. I don't really remember that one. I do know it's ridiculous. And then Transformers 5, I love. I love Transformers 5. I don't know why. I do. It's so ridiculous to having like Merlin and the dinosaurs and dragons and shit. It's so dumb. I love it. And then like it's a supermodel scientist, and then when they're in the house, there's like old people listening and they're like, oh, ooh. I thought that was hilarious. And then definitely agree with Man of Steel. Way too draining. Okay, so now we caught up with the comments. We caught up the errors from last week. Got a little introduction, you know. So let's get on with the show. So I asked you guys last week, should I do a Blu-ray haul? And you guys said, yes, do a Blu-ray haul instead of doing a little edited piece where I'm like, oh, this is what I got. You know, I can't talk about them yet. So today we're going to talk about my new Blu-ray haul. This is going to be like in-depth. I'm going to do like plot synopsis, all that jazz, and I don't even know where to start. Let's see. Where do I start? So we have several. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, a trilogy. So I'm going to count that as 5, 6, and 7. We'll start out with the simple one because, you know, it's simple. There's not much to talk about with this one. It's, you know, it is what it is. This is a movie called Pleasure. Never seen it before in my life. Have no idea what it's about. All I do know what it's about is that it's about the adult film industry and it actually has adult actors in it. And it's for the Kristen Stewart project. So that's why I ordered this. It's a Blu-ray. I believe there are several people in here. I know Little Hands is in here, or Tiny Hands. Evelyn Clare is in this. And some other actresses. Oh, Dana DeMont or Damon. I don't know how to pronounce some of these names, but yeah, they're in this movie. They're actually in it as actors, and I think that would be great for the Kristen Stewart project, just to give it some more, you know, like legitimacy. Like, oh, geez, I know those adult film actors. They're in that, so that's why I got this. This is for the Kristen Stewart project. That is basically it. Now let's go to the comments. I see Luke's already asking something. Did you get Snowfalls? No, Luke. I didn't even watch the Red Letter Media episode yet. I'm too busy watching. I think I'll go to that. That's a good segue. I wasn't watching Red Letter Media today. I was watching. Oh, I was watching Curse of the Black Pearl. So, when I moved out, what do you call it? I left some movies with my mom. She said, you know, leave some movies for her. So I agreed. And not only that, but I was like, I want to upgrade what we call Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I know that there will never be any good 4Ks of these unless like they actually go through like Kino Lorber or something, because the 4K of the Pirates of the Caribbean that was just released was awful. Like legitimately awful. Like they did a side by side with the Blu-ray, and the 4K and the Blu-ray look better. So I watched Curse of the Black Pearl today, and I was kind of shocked at it because there's so much practical shit in this movie. There is so much like actual sets and like props and costumes. It was almost like, geez, that's amazing. So as you know, Ireland rules. So the Criterion Closet. So when I first saw Pirates of the Caribbean, I didn't see it until it was on ABC. You know how they do like the Disney Saturday, you know, Saturday evening Disney movie, whatever. They showed that on Channel 7, ABC, and I watched it then. That was for the first time, and this is probably like 2006 because it was for promotion for the new Pirates movie. So I watched that movie on TV. I was like, holy shit, this is pretty good. Because I didn't see it in 2003. Missed out on it, didn't give a shit. Because at that time I was like, who's Johnny Depp? Johnny Depp who? Who cares? So I watched it on TV, and I was really enjoying Curse of the Black Pearl. So then I went to see Dead Man's Chest, which was like a couple weeks after they showed it on TV. Dude, I think this was the first movie I seen multiple times in the theater. Like I think I seen it 5 times. I think I seen Dead Man's Chest 5 times. I think I seen it 3 times regular, and then 2 times in the cheap theater, like the dollar theater. But I really love this. I didn't watch this yet. It's been a while since I rewatched this. I've been wanting to wait for the 4K just because I thought, ooh, I want to see Davy Jones in 4K because this is like the peak of CGI with Davy Jones, and I was waiting for the 4K, but then after the freaking the terrible 4K of the Black Pearl, I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm not gonna wait for the 4K anymore. I'm just gonna go straight for the Blu-ray. But yeah, I watched this. I haven't watched it yet, but I watched it, all those years ago, and it was just amazing. And it was one of those things where a little inside baseball, but there was a girl I had a crush on, and she loved this movie, and so we would talk about this movie all the time. And I remember, what do you call it, leading to the third movie, we were trying to guess, like, is Jack Sparrow really the dad? Is he really Will Turner's dad? And that didn't really happen. But the third one is so insane. I don't even know how to describe it. I think at the time I remember it being very exhilarating and watching this in the theater and how amazing it was. But it's also kind of draining as well. But I really love this trilogy because the effects, the actors, the characters, the built-in world of it's just great. It's definitely a Jerry Bruckheimer production with some of these because it's just they go all out with the action, like the whole Kraken stuff in this, and I like all the tomboy shit with Keira Knightley. That's hilarious. I always wanted her to end up with Jack. I don't know why. I just think Will Turner is like a piece of shit. He's always betraying his friends, backstabbing them. He has like no redeemable qualities because he really becomes like a piece of shit throughout the series, and somehow they get married in the third one. I can't even talk about the fourth one. I've never seen the fourth one, and then the fifth one is just aggravating. There's like no continuity at all in the fifth one. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Let's hide that thing. Let's see. We got some more comments here. We have Jacob. DreamWorks 921. Hi, Jacob here. Do you think the Moby Dick scene from the Pagemaster scary? I haven't watched Pagemaster yet. So what I do is I film episodes in advance so I can take my time. I have literally not done that yet. I haven't even filmed my X-Men episode yet. Yes, Luke, I rewatched X-Men. I'm going to film that. That's going to be next. So I want to film the X-Men episode and then rewatch Pagemaster. Because what I did, Jacob, because I knew I had a stream this week, I rewatched all my purchases here. I watched my purchases so I had something to talk about. So I have not watched Pagemaster. And I don't want to spoil anything about Pagemaster. That is for that episode in particular. So I'm not going to talk about Pagemaster yet. Okay. Let's see. Just saw that Red Letter Media video. Have not watched it yet. Do not spoil it for me. Do not. Let's see. Very nice. And then we have Luke. He says, LOL. Wasn't it great filler vision? Okay, so they're talking about it. Oh, yes, pirates. And then let's see. All those classics, sadly, I'd say sadly, there are somewhat action fatigue at World's End finale. Yes, because there's so much going on, and everything's going around the toilet bowl, and they got to fight, and they get hooked on, and then they just kiss. There's a lot of shit that goes on at the end of that. Okay, and then what else we have? Very hilarious, Luke. Saw Dead Man's Chest a few times in cinema. Yes. Luke is a huge fan. That's another reason why I bought these, because I want to go in depth. Let's go in depth, Luke. At some point, probably in March. March. I don't know. At some point, we're going to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know if it's going to be on your channel or my channel. Like, I have to start booking my show. So I have some guests planned. I'll talk about that towards the end. But right now, I'm just catching up with comments before I get to the next one. Let's see. Saw Dead Man's Chest before Curse in the Drive-In. Have a weird habit of watching films out of order. Saw Back to the Future 1 and 3 before 2. Oh, that's an odd order. You know what's funny? When I was younger, I had no idea that 2 and 1 were different movies for Back to the Future. I thought they were the same movie because because I was at my cousin's house, and I don't know if it was like on TV or if they had recorded on VHS, so they just like blended them together, which I think might have been the case, where they just like recorded on TV and then just blended them back to back. But I had no idea that 1 and 2 were different movies. I thought they were the same. It was later on, when I got older, because I think when I first watched Back to the Future, I was a kid. I was a wee lad, probably 4 or 5. I'm guessing around that age, where I watched Back to the Future. And we have Luke, very draining. And then he says, I do love the lore in 1 through 3. Yes, 1 through 3 is fantastic. There's some great shit in there. We have Calypso and what do you call it? Will is a damp squib. Oh my god. Yes. But yeah, there's some shit that's really good in there. Like there's like a weird creepy scene I love in the first movie I just watched today where Barbossa's almost like getting off watching Elizabeth eat food because he hasn't been able to taste food or anything. And he's like, and that book comes next. It's like, oh, that's kind of creepy. He's like kind of like getting joy from watching her eat. So yeah, this is the trilogy. I plan to watch 2 and 3 at some point. And me and Luke are going to have an episode on it. I don't know if it's going to be on my channel or his channel, possibly my channel. Because for right now, for my channel, this week is the DVD haul. Next week is the Chief Brody Rules, what do you call it? Chief Brody Rules retrospective. Sort of like going over my career of Chief Brody Rules and then, what do you call it? Answering any questions and just talking about it. I'm going to have Anthony come on as like a moderator, just so he kind of keeps it on track so I don't go too far off in the weeds. I want him to, stay on target. We could just stay focused. And also, he was there for most of my career, so I think that would be nice for him to be the moderator. Because I think Luke came in a little late, and I'm not sure if I really know anybody else who's kind of been there since the beginning. Drink break. Let's see. Let's see. So we'll go to the next one. John Carter. This is one of those attempts that Disney did to make a franchise. And when this first came out, I loved it. So when this first came out, I went to see it in 3D with me and my mom. And we thought the movie looked absolutely gorgeous. We thought it looked great, but we complained about the 3D glasses. We complained that the 3D glasses sucked out all the color. Because whenever we lifted our glasses, we saw all the bright oranges, all the greens, like all the detail and like the landscape. And we really liked that. So we went to see it a second time, not in 3D. And we really enjoyed this movie. I remember loving it. So I just rewatched it and I still love it. I kind of wish there's like little things about this that are weird. I think it's a little bit weird that John Carter himself is like freaking pale as ever. Like everyone's tan or has some sort of color, but he's like pale as hell. And he doesn't really have that much muscle. And I feel like if you're going to get an actor to do this, they should sort of kind of be built. Not too built. I'm not talking about like Hugh Jackman Wolverine, where he's been, hasn't been drinking water, where he's like ripped. I want built. I want, I don't want like freaking hot dog packet, Chris Evans when he wakes up from Captain America, when he wakes up and he's got like at least, I don't need that. I just need someone who's built. I'm trying to find like, I don't know, like early Bruce Willis, something like that, where it's like toned. I don't want, super ripped. And I don't think he was super ripped enough. I think he's decent. What's his name? Tyler Kirtrash? Whatever, the guy, John Carter. I think he's an okay actor. He does enough for this, but I don't really fully blame him. I kind of blame Andrew Stanton because this was like Andrew Stanton's first live action movie. And I'm shocked that they gave him so much power over the movie. Like, I guess he did WALL-E and Finding Nemo, and they're like, okay, we trust you. And meanwhile, this fucking guy never made a live action movie in his life. So like there was like tons of reshoots apparently. There was things when they filmed it where he realized like, oh geez, I kind of filmed it wrong. Let's go refilm it. And then I guess the female, I don't know her name, the Princess of Mars, because they all have like weird ass names like Tarkashash and Yashash. They all have like weird fucking names. So the girl from, I know Luke's gonna say it, X-Men Origins Wolverine, she's in this, and apparently they kind of made her like a sort of like the damsel in distress, which I don't mind. Like she could be a badass, but I kind of like the whole damsel, like John Carter. It's so wonderful. It's so cheesy. I love it. I love Willem Dafoe. Like any performance he fucking does, he's amazing. What else is about this movie? I like the landscape. I love the colors. I love I don't know. I love the hero's journey. Like this one's not as offensive as like Avatar. Because Avatar, it feels like, oh yeah, it's a white man savior, but this one doesn't really feel like a white man savior for some reason. I think it's because that the Princess of Mars tribe is human, and they're like, they're what do you call Caucasian human, I should say. So it's not as bad because like you have the green tusk people, and then you have the human looking people, so it's not as bad. Like with Avatar, it's like, oh yeah, it's the white guy saving the little what do you call it, the Navi, and that just kind of fucked up and kind of leaves a little sour taste in your mouth. But this one's okay. Like he goes there and he fights the white we call it the gorillas or whatever the hell they're called. He cuts through them and then takes over the tribe and then cuts the dude's head off. It's wonderful. I kind of wish this was like rated R. I wish there was some sort of like I was gonna say what's his name? Robert Rodriguez. I think he was going to do a draft or a movie of this at some point, but of course everything falls through because you can't really line everything up. Because at some point he wanted to do like a Conan movie and then John Carter movie. Never happened. And then well, that's what I was talking about this movie. Yes, I was doing a light research, and I love that for some crazy reason they gave Andrew Stanton the keys for the promotion. So like when he did the trailers, he did them so obscure that you can't even tell what the movie's about. And that his argument was, when I was a kid, I would see these previews and you'd want to see the movie. And meanwhile, it's like, nah, the audience has gotten dumber since the 70s. You gotta show the plot. You gotta tell it what it's about. So like he was in charge of making these trailers. And speaking of which, because today's the Super Bowl, there was a Super Bowl trailer that he edited with Led Zeppelin's Kashmir, and everyone was like, "You shouldn't do that. Don't do that." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna do it." So if you watch the John Carter Super Bowl trailer, that is completely him, and that just makes me laugh that he was in charge of all the promotion. And then at the premiere, which they didn't even have at the the Disney Theater in in Hollywood, they actually had it at the Regal in Los Angeles. And as Taylor Kirshner was on the red carpet, one of the producers of Disney, because as this was being made, so much shit happened. There was so much change in power of like CEO of Disney. And not only that, but as they were making this, George Lucas sold the rights to Disney. So there was no point of trying to make a space opera franchise because they literally just bought the franchise that they're trying to rip off of, and it's just so amazing. So when they see Taylor Kirshner on the red carpet, they're like, "It's terrible, it's awful, it's not going to happen," because they knew that this movie was going to flop, and I guess it flopped hard. From my research, it really must have flopped hard, but I still enjoy it. There's a lot of fun moments in this. I wish it was hard R. Yeah, I love this movie. As you can tell, I'm smiling the whole time while talking about it. I love this movie. It's that perfect cheese of like the guy in the forbidden world or whatever, and he learns about the aliens and he fights all of them. It's so great. And like the technology. And of course, what's his name is in here? The guy who has like a bulletproof career no matter how many flops he's in. Yeah, Mark Strong. Mark Strong's in this as one of those weird Thurn aliens. Wonderful. And he's like bulletproof. Like he was like in this and Green Lantern, and yet he still has a good fucking career. I love that guy, Mark Strong. But yeah, this is a fun watch. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Hopefully it's on Disney Plus. Have no idea. I had to get a copy of this because I love John Carter of Mars. And I love the whole setup too, where you think like, oh, he knows a way, he found a way back to Mars, and he didn't really. He just did, he realized that he had to fake his death to get the Thurn to him, and that just cracks me up. But I'm very sad because I think he said it's been 18 years or 10 years. I don't know. I don't know if there's like a difference between when he was on Mars or on Earth, but it's sad that he's been away from the wife on Mars for so long. And that kind of bummed me out. Let's see. Go to the comments. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde segment, Page Master, always freaky as a kid. Never saw a Page Master as a kid. Don't want to spoil that episode. I'll talk about it when I talk about it. I never watched the Pirates films. Really? We'll definitely watch the first one. If you like the first one, then go from there. Only watch the first three. Don't watch 4 and 5. Give them a chance, though. Give them a chance. They're really action-packed. I'm game. Can't wait to dive in. Yep. Captain, you need to jump in the boat. Watch them. Yes. Do it. Do it, Captain. Drive-in is always a fun experience, except when it's heavily raining. Ruined experience for Monsters University. Nope, I can't talk about it. It's for the X-Men episode. It's for the X-Men episode. I can't talk about it. But let's just say I saw it in the drive-in and it was raining. And if you watch X-Men, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. That, yeah. Let's see, Captain Iron Dog. I remember watching 1 and 2 for Indiana Jones out of order without knowing. Right? And not only that, but after years later, finding out that they're out of order, like Temple of Doom happens before Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think. If I gotta rewatch those movies. You guys keep bringing up Indiana Jones. That's a blind spot for me. It's like I always said, it's like action fatigue. We can do it on yours. Okay, we're gonna do it on my show. We're gonna do that. Would be a 2 p.m. stream. So if I do a stream with Luke, it's probably got to be a 2 p.m. stream on Saturday or Sunday. So there's that. So if we do Pirates, we're gonna do it on my channel. Never seen John Carter. Dare I? Luke, don't see it. I don't want you to shit on my bed. Let's see. Don't see it, Luke. Love John Carter so much. Just got the art book. Wish it had better advertised. Should have been more films. Right. It's too expensive, though. I think they fucked up by getting an inexperienced director. Even though he did a pretty decent job, he spent too much money. I've only seen John Carter on TV. Ooh, you should watch just the theatrical without the commercials. Ironic, he's in X-Men Origins Wolverine Gambit. Yep, that's right. They did, when they were doing the audition, they read a scene together on the set of X-Men Origins, so that's how they got, the roles for John Carter. Let's see, Gambit in X-Men Origins. You fucking love X-Men Origins, Luke. Don't you deny it. He's been known as Gambit to me. I know who you are, Gambit. Let's see, smiling face. And then Taylor Kirsch is good in the second season of True Detective. Oh, that's right. He was on that. I kind of liked him in that movie, Savages. He was cool in that. I wish he had better roles. John Carter's going to live with him forever. He needs that something. Oh, Filler Vision explains a lot. Oh, yeah. I think you're talking about when I was talking about the advertising. Weirdly, I remember enjoying the trailers more than the actual movie. That makes sense because with trailers, sometimes you watch trailers and it gives you like a better imagination of what the movie's going to be. Shit, what is that? Oh, it's a message on Twitter. I'm going to put my phone on mute so no more distractions. Let's see. Wow, that's a lot. Yes. Let's see. I had the film had Bryan Cranston in it. He was really. I know. That's the fucking weird thing. I was watching John Carter and I saw that Bryan Cranston was in it, and I was like, "What the fuck is he doing in this?" And like, there's like no reason to have an actor caliber of Bryan Cranston in such a small role. I almost wonder, like, was this before Breaking Bad? I'm pretty sure Breaking Bad was before this, but maybe it's at the same time because there's no fucking way they would have Bryan Cranston in such a small role in this John Carter movie. It's ridiculous. Speaking of action sequences, Fox and the Hound has a great climax that amazed me. Okay. Oh, yeah, the demon bear chasing after Todd and Copper terrified me as a child. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the next movie. The next movie on this stream is going to be The Bad News Bears. Now, funny enough, I believe it was 2-3 years ago. I can't tell anymore because my old Twitter account was nuked due to me recording copyrighted music and some others tweet, but I digress. A couple of years ago, I was looking for the Blu-ray of this, and it did not exist. All that existed was the DVD, and as I was doing research, it said, like, oh, in 2 months, the Blu-ray is going to come out. I was like, oh. So now cut to, 2 years later, I was like, I got to get this Walter Matthau movie. I'm a huge fan of Walter Matthau. When I was a little kid, I watched all the Grumpy Old Men movies. Out to Sea was really hilarious to me. I don't know if you guys ever seen it, Out to Sea and Grumpy Old Men 1 and 2. But like him going it's so hilarious to me. I think he is one of the greatest actors of all time. I freaking love Walter Matthau. Like legitimately, I love this guy. Like I can't get enough of this guy. Like there's I have another movie here with him in it. and he's amazing to me. I love taking on Pelham 123. I love his Garber role. It's so great. One of my favorite bits in that movie is just like how he's just trying to keep the order in it. Like everything is out of his control in that movie, and he's just trying to get it in order and keep things on track. And just like if out of all the noise in that movie, he is like the sound of reason. And it's just so funny because he just seems so downbeat by everything in his fucking life. Because like one of the beginning scenes of the movie is he's told to give them a tour. And not only that, but he's asleep. That's the first time you see him. He's asleep in the fucking office. That just tells you he is worn out. He is beat. And they wake him up and they say you have to give a tour to these Japanese, these guys from China, or not Japan. That you got to give a tour to these guys from Japan. They're here about the bullet train. They're going to, try to, see how our subways work and, try to bring their technology here. So he's trying to give them a tour and they act dumb because he starts making fun of them and then like giving him like bad information. And then the whole time you think that they can't understand Walter Matthau. And then at the end they're like, thank you, Mr. Garber. We will go to the 13th floor. And it just cracks me up. But enough of Pelham 123. I do like that movie. Let's talk about Bad News Bears. I was just talking about what I like about Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau in this movie plays Buttermaker. He is a drunk. Goddamn drunk. Like he pulls up in his car, it's got the top down and it clearly looks broken. He is drinking a beer at like 8 a.m. because like it's dawn. The kids are practicing baseball on the field, and it's just, oh my god, this is such a weird. It's one of those 70s movies like Slapshot, where it's about the loser, and at the end, it's not about him winning. It's about him trying. And I like that about 70s movies. There's so many 70s movies out there where they try so hard and at the end they barely succeed. And then they still, it's about like you don't win the war. You don't win the battle, but you win the war, basically. You know what I mean? Sort of like Rocky. You know how Rocky, like the end, it doesn't even fucking matter he lost. What matters at the end is he went all the way with Apollo Creed, and this is sort of the same thing, but with kids. There's so much like humor in this. The kids are freaking hilarious. The kid like eats a wrapper. Little Tatum O'Neal in this, she's fantastic. Jackie Earle Haley in an early film role. He's the guy from Watchmen, and he played a Freddy Krueger in the remake, and then he was in the film by Martin Scorsese, Shutter Island. But yeah, there's just some great moments in this. And like Walter Matthau, like the thing I like about Walter Matthau is like, even though like all his roles are not really similar, but they all share the same DNA and he does everything different in all of them. It's just really wonderful. I'm trying to think of like the other moment in here. Like there's some darkness in this movie where it's just like, it's under the surface. It's like in real life. If something happened, you saw that, you're like, ooh. And it's just like a reminder of how dark the real world could kind of be. Like the Jackie Earle Haley character, all he's doing is just sitting on the bench eating like a hot dog or something. And one of the coaches like pulls his arm and is very abusive just because he's hanging out there. And that's a little bit darkness. And that same coach at the end hits his son. So the son is the pitcher, right? And he accidentally throws the ball and hits the Bad News Bear player. The coach comes out there, like rings him up and smacks him to the ground in front of the whole team. Like everyone's watching the game, and he just slapped his son in front of everybody. So his son gets pissed at that and lets the little fat boy get a home run. And the kid who got slapped leaves with his mom. And like that shit would not happen in like a modern movie. It would not. And it just shows you that darkness of like 70s movies, how it's not all rainbows and sunshine. Like there's like a sad part in this where Tatum O'Neal is trying to convince Walter Matthau to hang out with her mom again because they used to date. Walter Matthau used to date Tatum O'Neal's mom. And she's trying to get them back together. And he's such a fucking drunk. He's like, no, get away from me. I don't want your company. And he throws a can of beer at her. And it's sad. And it's one of those things where it's like Harry into Henderson's where it's like, go. And he smacks the Sasquatch. It's like one of those kind of things where they don't get too connected. You know what I mean? But yeah, I love this movie. Even though the team doesn't win, the use of the opera music in this is fucking hilarious. I love this movie. If you guys haven't seen Bad News Bears, I highly recommend it. I'm not sure about the Billy Bob movie, the Billy Bob Thornton remake, which came out in 2005, the year of the remake. But I think that one was okay. Not going to say it's great because this one's great. This one is iconic. This one's wonderful. Never seen any of the sequels. I love this movie. I love Bad News Bears. Yeah, I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen this, this is one of the great 70s movies about the losers, trying and going against the upper class. I love that shit. That's one of my favorite genres, where it's the loser going against the upper class, like Blues Brothers. How much will you let the girl? And then give me 4 chickens and the Coke. Love that shit. It's so great. Let's see. Let's go to the comments. Seen that comment? Greatest movie of all time, Battleship. Oh yeah, Battleship was all right. I'm not gonna say it's great. It's all right. I liked it. You have to see Bad News Bears. Only seen clips. Looks decent. I like it. Bad News Bears is awesome. Stromboli is my favorite Disney character. Okay. Yeah, I know who Stromboli is. Let's see. I like the attitude in 70s films. You tried, it didn't work out, but you tried. Sort of wish more modern. I know. I love that lovable loser. I'm trying to remember I know it's not modern, but the more current lovable loser movie would be Kingpin. If you guys ever seen Kingpin by the Farley brothers with Willie Nelson and Bill Murray, not Willie Nelson. Oh my God, Woody Harrelson. Holy shit, that's a freaking. I'm glad I caught that before watching this again. Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray. Freaking Kingpin is one of those great lovable loser 70s movies that I wish still was made. But yeah, that's good. Let's see. Holy cow, yeah, 70s wasn't afraid of going dark in some parts, Out of the Blue, and it's shocking. Yes, I'd have to rewatch Slapshot, but I think they do that a lot in that too, where it's just Out of the Blue, dark. Haven't seen the remake either, but having Billy Bob Thornton as coaches feels like a retread of Bad Santa. Yeah, it was. It was a PG-13 Bad Santa. So you got me there. But yeah, I love the lovable loser. I really do. Okay. Caught up with the comments. See Bad News Bears. Going to the next one. Okay. So one of my favorite movies of all time, it's not in the top 20, but it's at least in the top 100. One of my favorite movies of all time is the movie Vertigo with Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak. And I love that whole mystery plot thing. Even though I've seen it so many times, I always hoped, every time I watch it, even though I know how it's going to end, I always hope that Kim Novak and Jimmy Stewart got together at the end, because he's so obsessed with her and he's in love with her, and she falls for him genuinely, and she's willing, when he finds her again, she's willing to do anything to be with him again. Maybe just give it a shot. Maybe it can work out. But at the freaking end, it doesn't work out. And it always aggravates me. You're watching that end of the movie where she gets scared and she runs out the window. And it's just ugh. And there's probably no way he'd ever be able to forgive her, because he was so traumatized by the death. So it's just oh. But this year, however long Vertigo has been in my life, as I'm 32 years old now, I see my best friend Stuart Schuster. He was retweeting shit that he's watching on the Criterion channel. Thank God. And he retweeted this. It was Bell, Book, and Candle. This is a movie starring Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak. Came out the same year as Vertigo. And I'm like, oh, this is it, bro. They're going to get together. So I was so excited about this. The minute I heard about it, from Stewart, I'm like, I have to order this. I don't care if it's bad. I want to see them get together. And it's so fun. So this movie came out in the 58. Holy shit. My God, it doesn't feel like it. So this movie came out in 58. It's got Elsa Lancaster, the girl who played Bride of Frankenstein. She plays the aunt. Kim Novak's in there as the main love interest. Her brother's played by Jack Lemmon. It's a fantastic little romantic comedy from back then. So the plot goes like this. So there's this witches. Witches exist, and they're real. And Kim Novak's a witch, and she lives in her little shop downstairs. And it's a duplex building. So the top floor, her aunt lives there. Second floor is Jimmy Stewart. And the first floor is the store / her apartment. That's where she lives. So she starts thinking you know what? I want to try something different. I want to try to fall in love. And the aunt's like, you can't fall in love. Witches can't fall in love. What the hell are you doing? Come on. Stop it. And so you find out that witches can't fall in love. They can't cry. And they can't blush. So she comes up with a challenge like, I like that Jimmy Stewart guy. He seems cute. I'm going to try to woo him. So he comes into her apartment for some reason. I forget why. There's some, I just watched it like a couple days ago, but I forgot why. Doesn't matter. So he goes into the store and she finds out like some, information about him. She finds out that he has a girlfriend. Not only does he have a girlfriend, he is going to get married like the next day. Like this is Christmas Eve and he's going to get married on Christmas. So she's like, okay, I gotta do something. So, she puts like this little curse on and then she goes out to like this bar, a club where all these witches go. So they're relaxing on Christmas Eve, having a good old time. Jimmy Stewart is doing his, so he's doing his little sly thing with his fiance, and he says, "I want to take you somewhere different. I'm going to take you to this club. I've heard about it." So he goes to this club, and that's where he meets Kim Novak, and it cracks me up because like the first scene you see with Kim Novak, like it's very clear, like she is shoeless, like she is barefoot. That is like the first thing you see. And then so when they're in this club, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what kind of movie is this? Like when they sit down, the fiance knows who Kim Novak is. And she starts saying, like, oh yeah, you were the girl you were barefoot in college. And Jimmy Stewart's like, look at her feet. I was like, it's already off and running. Here we go. So like there's like a little connection between Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak. And the witches use their powers to fuck with the fiance. Like the band leaves the stage and just starts playing the horns and trombones to the fiance, and they scare her out of there. So Jimmy Stewart goes home, fiance goes home, and then he goes to see Kim Novak because they put the curse on. They're like, okay, let's try another trick. Because like what's the name? Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon said, look what I found. I found this paint. I found this paint that if you paint it on this photo, it'll bring someone famous to you. Whoever you want to come to you, they'll come to you. So Jimmy Stewart originally talked about knowing this author because Jimmy Stewart, he releases books. He's like a publisher. So they find the author and they rip it off the book and they put it on fire. And there's like this big giant fire. And Jimmy Stewart is like, oh my God, there's a fire in there. So he goes in there. He's like, oh, no. There's no fire here. It's just a little cool thing, a little demonstration. It's over now. So as he's there, Kim Novak starts messing with the cat. And because the cat like holds the power of the witches. And he falls head over heels for Kim Novak. Her love thing worked. They start dating. It's all rainbows and sunshine. And then I think 2 or 3 weeks of them dating, Jimmy Stewart is like, girl, I want to marry you. They're sitting on the couch, both barefoot at this time, which I found even more hilarious. I'm like, there's something going on with this movie. So he's like, I got to marry you. And Kim Novak's like, really contemplate like, oh my God, do I love him? Should I do this? I'm a witch. I can't love him. I can't love. Maybe I should. And then she says, yes, I'm going to marry you. Sure. Why not? And then somehow, again, a little detail that it doesn't really matter, but somehow Jimmy Stewart finds out that there's a love curse on him. And he goes to see the head witch because he's like, what? You never loved me and I don't love you. I ruined my whole life because of you. I left my fiance. I wanted to marry you. What is going on? I'm going to see this head witch. So this head witch gives him this potion, breaks off the curse, right? So after that night, curse is broken. Little cat is not listening to Kim Novak anymore. Kim Novak's like, oh no, what's going on? Why is my cat not listening to me? The cat runs away and she's out in the street and she starts crying and she's in love with Jimmy Stewart for realsies. And it's wonderful. It's great. And then the next scene you see is, what do you call it? Jimmy Stewart, he's in his publishing office and he's complaining to his secretary. And the secretary's like, you've been mean to me for weeks. If you keep doing this, I'll quit. So there's something going on with Jimmy Stewart. So he's not happy with his life so far. And the aunt goes to visit Kim Novak And she's like, "Oh my God, you're in love. What's love like? I've always wondered about it because I think that witches are immortal." They kind of hinted at it. Not sure. I think they're immortal. But Kim Novak's like, "Love's terrible." And it's great. I love that shit. So, in order to make the girl happy, um, Elsa Lancaster has to cheat because she vowed. So when these witches vow, like they can't do anything. So she can't do anything to get Jimmy Stewart back, but she cheats. She uses the cat. So the cat goes to see Jimmy Stewart, and Jimmy Stewart thinks the cat belongs to Kim Novak, right? So he goes to return the cat. It goes there. I think it's a couple months later. He goes to return the cat. So it's been a couple months after they've broken up. He sees that the store is different. It is no longer like the African tribe, store. It is like seashells. So she's changed her life. So he goes in there and she's being off like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, I came to return your cat." And she's like, "That's not my cat anymore." And he's like, "What? How do we mean it's not your cat anymore?" And then she starts like, trying to act cool. And then he's like, "Wait a minute, are you blushing?" And then not only that, but he's like really looking at her, like he's in love with her. Like he can't take his eyes off Kim Novak. And he's like, "Wait a minute, are you blushing?" He's like, "She's blushing." And then he's like, "Oh, you've been okay, right?" And then she starts crying, "No, I've been off." Like, "Wait a minute," crying. And then he's like, I haven't been happy either. I think we're in love." They kiss and they get together and it's so fun. And outside the brother is watching with the aunt. The aunt's happy that they're together and the brother's like, "Whatever." And then they go on. And there's a whole side plot about the author, but I totally forgot about that. Not really important. It's just there as like a side story. I think that's sort of how Jimmy Stewart finds out the witches are real. Actually, it is. But yeah, I love that movie. I love that movie. Go see this freaking Bell Book and Candle. It is wonderful. It inspired the show Bewitched. So if you're like, "Hey, that kind of sounds like Bewitched," where it sounds like a witch, trying to get a guy, totally is. After it was over, I immediately wanted to watch it again. I liked it. It was so great to finally see Jimmy Stewart get back with Kim Novak. And I was doing some research on it, and I found out that it was the last romantic leading role for Jimmy Stewart because he's gotten so old at that point. And then I think Kim Novak even took a step back from acting because she realized she was never going to do anything as good as Vertigo, because Vertigo and this Bell Book and Candle came out the same year. But yeah, go check it out. I really love this movie. You'll love Jimmy Stewart. If you love Kim Novak, if you like Vertigo and you wanted to see them get together, it is so fun. I really enjoyed this movie. I'll probably watch it again in the next couple days. Let's go to the comments. Woody Harrelson in the Willie Nelson biopic. When? Exactly, right? Kingpin was a surprise. Didn't expect. Oh my God, I love that. I love that. There's a scene in that movie where Bill Murray's like, "Can you take that outside?" Because he can't stand the guy. I love that. And then I love that little improv that Bill Murray does in Kingpin, where he's like, "Hey, hello, how you doing?" And then the girl looks, he says, "No, not you, her." And then the girl's like, hilarious. And meanwhile, he's got his hair is all fucked up, and yet he's like the freaking ladies' man. It cracks me the fuck up. Hell yes, love Vertigo. First Hitchcock movie I ever saw. Such a gorgeous movie. Love the colors and framing, shots. It's amazing. Yep. What a cute sounding movie. Definitely need to check this out. Yes, I love the movie. I love Bell, Book, and Candle. Sounds like a parody of famous Mickey Mouse comic that got banned in the States. Ooh, don't know what that one is. I don't know what that is. Okay. So I don't know what to talk about next. There's two left. There is two left. I kind of need a break from talking, so I'll leave that one for last. So this one, I've been wanting to watch for years. Finally, finally decided, yes, 2023 is going to be year I watch it. And I got Sailor Moon. So to explain my love for Sailor Moon, where do I start? It's quite simple, really. So in 1990s, there was a show called Street Sharks, and they sold the VHS that had the pilot episode, or like the first two episodes. And whoever released that VHS, whatever company it was, I don't know what company it was, but they also released Sailor Moon. So as a promotion, like before Street Sharks started, they literally played the Sailor Moon theme song, "Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight. Responding from a real fight. She's the one named Sailor Moon. That is like stuck in my head all these years because of the Street Sharks VHS tape. And I've been wanting to watch it all these years. And because of that, I bought all the Sailor Moon action figures. They're in my collection. Since I can't collect Street Sharks, I decided to collect the Sailor Moon figures because I really like the design of every character. They're so cute. It's, adorable, and it's funny. I love it. It's so great. Very expensive in my collection. Like if you look up how much those freaking, I think they're SF. Hang on, I got some boxes here. SH Figure Arts. I have like all of them. There's some I don't have. Like I don't have like the super version of Sailor Moon, whatever the hell that is. I just have like the regular girls. And if you look it up, I spent a lot on that collection. I love those figures though. And I decided to finally check it out because I'm trying to open myself to anime. So my little baby steps, I started watching, Speed Racer. And now I started watching Cowboy Bebop. I'm in the middle of that. I'm probably going to talk about that in a little bit. But yes, so I bought Sailor Moon. I thought this was complete season 1, but apparently it's that stupid thing where it's this is season 1 part 1, so it's only episodes. It's only the first 23 episodes, and for some dumb reason, I don't know why, but they have a little blank cardboard thing in here that says season 1 part 2 goes here. So you have to buy them separately, even though it's a huge box. I don't get the reason for that. Maybe it's a copyright thing. I don't know. But I got Sailor Moon. I watched the first 3 episodes, and it cracks me up because if I were to hire a director for Sailor Moon, I think it would be like Sam Raimi. Because it's like all adorable, like bright neon like colors for her in school, and then when she has to go fight the evil woman, it is like literally fighting an Evil Dead hag. And it's very Sam Raimi, where the arms stretch and like Evil Dead style, where like the head completely turns around. It is hilarious. I really liked it so far. I've only watched the first 3 episodes. I think it's adorable. I think it's hilarious that every time they show the whole transition when she turns into Sailor Moon, and then it's like the same shit where it's like a horde of people coming after her. She takes off her tiara, she throws it at the thing, and the thing turns to dust. But before that even happens, like she gets scared and screams, and then Tuxedo Mask shows up, throws a rose, and then bounces. That's all he does, and it's hilarious. I love it. I love it so much. I've really been enjoying this Sailor Moon so far. So that was my other purchase. Let's go to the comments. I see there's tons of stuff here. Let's see. Plot was about Mickey and Minnie falling out. Mickey ends up dating a witch. It's really sweet comic. Disney lost her cool about Mickey getting hitched. Right? So weird. Classic Sailor Moon is wonderful. Yes. I was originally going to buy like the whole series. I'm like, wait a minute, let me check out season 1 before I get too crazy. I want to make sure I like it first. Fantasia, yeah, I've already talked about that. Talked about it. Okay. I've never seen a box set do that. It's so bizarre. Yeah. And Sam Raimi, Sailor Moon sounds fantastic. Yes, I was watching. I was like, dude, that is totally freaking Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi, Sailor Moon. Because it just cracked me up. Like literally in that first episode, like let me demonstrate. Like there's a character that turns their head all the way around like that, and I was like, that's totally Evil Dead shit. That's cracked me up. It was like straight out of Evil Dead 2, and it's like, what? Who are you? I also thought it's very interesting how the bad guys are trying to suck the love and energy out of people. Like I thought it was so mean that their evil plot for episode 3 was to have a radio station, have people write in love letters, and whoever writes in a love letter, they suck their energy from them. And I thought that was so interesting and weird. Like, who comes up with that shit? Who comes up with that? I don't know. I thought it was great. I thought it was interesting. All right. So we get to the last movie. We get to the last movie of today's stream. A New Leaf. I'm not sure if I'm going to go in depth as I did with Bell, Book, and Candle, but let me talk about A New Leaf. So don't bother watching the trailer for A New Leaf because I found out with my research about A New Leaf is that none of the stuff that's in the trailer is in the movie because what's her name? Elaine May. Yep, I want to make sure I got the name right. Elaine May wrote, directs, and stars in this movie, and her original cut of this movie is like 3 hours long. And again, she's like Andrew Stanton. She had almost complete carte blanche about this movie. And the studio was like, no, we're not releasing a 3-hour version of your movie. So they had it re-edited, and she tried so hard to get her name removed from this movie because they changed the way it was edited and whatnot. But you can't really tell because this movie still works, even though it's not 3 hours long. The plot still works. So this wonderful plot is about, hang on, before I get to the plot, hang on. The whole reason why I wanted to watch A New Leaf is because I don't know if you guys ever watched California Suite. California Suite is a Neil Simon like movie with a huge ensemble cast. You got like Jane Fonda, Alan Alda, Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby, Walter Matthau, Elaine May, Michael Caine. I was going to say Tilda Swinton, but it's not Tilda Swinton. Oh, fuck, I forgot her name. Maggie Smith. She's in it. Huge cast. And it's like all these intertwining stories that take place at the Beverly Hills, hotel. And I love that movie. I really do. Some of the segments aren't that strong as others. But one of the stories in that movie was Walter Matthau and Elaine May. I really liked their dynamic in California Suite. I seen that years ago when I was in high school. Because in high school, even further back. So this goes even further back. So like in the early 2000s on TV, me and my mom were watching cable like AMC or TBS or something. And there was an old movie with Walter Matthau where he plays the husband. He plays a father who's going to give his daughter away. And there's some shenanigans and the daughter doesn't want to get married. And the silly ending is because they try everything to get the wife out of the daughter out of the closet because she has to get married. I think they try everything. And then the goofball ending is that they're trying to keep it away from the fiance, the husband. So the fiance husband finally finds out that she's not getting out of the closet. He goes in there and he says, "Hey, babe, come on, get out of there. We're going to get married." And she comes out of the closet. Like, that's the ending of the movie. Me and my mom remember that movie clearly, but we have no idea what the title of that movie is. We just know that it's Walter Matthau playing a father, and he has a daughter getting married, and she doesn't want to get married. We have no idea what the title of the movie is because we were doing research on Walter Matthau movies, and one of the movies Walter Matthau was in called California Suite. So we're like, okay, let's check out California Suite. We watched California Suite. Not the movie, but we fell in love with it anyway. So now that you know the backstory of how I got to know California Suite, and I was a huge fan of Walter Matthau in my, single-digit kid age, so we could finally talk about A New Leaf. So A New Leaf is written, directed for the screen by Elaine May, and it's a wonderful little story. So Walter Matthau plays a guy named Henry. He is a rich aristocrat, or better regard. He has so much money. He drives in like a Jaguar. He is rich, he is snooty, he is snotty, he is an awful person. And then you find out he is dead broke. His checks are bouncing because he's trying to repair his car because such as a fast car, but he can't drive it anywhere because it's meant to go vroom. But since he's in New York City where he has to keep stop going, it's fucking up with the car. So the checks are bouncing. He doesn't have any money. And it's so funny. There's like a scene that goes on for like 5 minutes where he's like, "No, come on. I want my check to be paid. This bill needs to be paid." And this lawyer's like, how do I say this? You have no money. You have no money. You have no capital. You have no money. Yes, I understand that. But this check needs to be paid. It's so funny. I love it. So he realizes he is dead broke. He walks out of his lawyer's office and he's just like, "Oh God, what am I going to do?" So he goes home and he tells his butler, he says, "Hey, butler, what if I were to tell you that I'm dead broke?" And the butler's like, "I would leave immediately, sir." So the butler doesn't leave. The butler decides to stay and help. So the butler's like, "Hey, have you asked your uncle?" So he goes to ask his uncle, Walter Matthau, Henry. we'll call him Henry. Henry goes to ask his uncle, hey, I need some money. And he says, oh, right. So, like, you're going to pay me back my money. So he gives him a bet. He says, I'll give you a $10,000 loan. And if you don't pay it within the 6 weeks and you don't get married to a woman, because Walter Matthau's plan, Henry's plan is, I'm going to find a woman. I'm going to find a rich woman. I'm going to marry her, and I'm going to use her money to live off of. So the uncle's like, yeah, right. Like, you're going to find a woman you're going to marry in 6 weeks. If you don't pay me back my $10,000 in 10 weeks, I'm going to take everything, which is $500,000 of his house, personal belongings, property, everything. So there's like a little montage where Walter Matthau is going on dates, and it just cracks me up. Like, there's one who's like real fucking horny, and he doesn't want to do anything with it because like he's such that snooty rich guy, he doesn't even want to deal with that because he's like, whatever, he's like, no, stop, I don't even want any of that. And then he goes dating this girl who's at like this fundraiser, and like they're dancing, and everyone wants to put one of those like little hats on Walter Matthau, but he keeps grabbing them and like punching them. And they're like, what are you doing here, Henry? I thought you hated charity and goodwill. And he says, I do. What you heard was accurate. And it just cracks me the fuck up. So it's like 1 week before he has to pay the loan off. And 1 week before he has to pay the loan off, he goes to this little rich party, a little, it's some woman he knows. I think it's the woman he was dancing with at the party. So she's throwing like a little tea party. And he sees that there's this woman there, and it's Elaine May, little cute Elaine May. She's there at the party, and she's so mousy and nerdy. Like, she's spilling her tea without knowing she's spilling her tea. And they're like, she's like a rich heiress. She like has so much money or whatever, but she has nothing to do with it. She doesn't spend it. So Walter Matthau's like, that's the woman I want to go to. So he goes to see her, and she accidentally dumps her tea again 2 times. And the hostess of the party, the girl Walter Matthau was dancing with, she yells at Elaine May, like, if you can't handle your tea, then you shouldn't be drinking tea. And Walter Matthau pours his own tea and says, ma'am, you show so much concern for this rug and personal belongings. It's upsetting. Like, she clearly is nervous and she doesn't want to be here, and neither do I. So let's go, Elaine May, and her name's Henrietta. So it's Henry and Henrietta. It's cute, adorable. I love it. So he takes her out, and it's so funny. They go on a couple dates. He finally wins her over, and like on that day he wins her over, he like literally asks her to marry him. And she's like, oh my God, of course I'll marry you. And there's a character actor in it that I love. He's the guy from Mr. Limpet, George Stickle. George Stickle's in this movie. He plays the lawyer to Henrietta, Elaine May. And he is in love, infatuated with Elaine May. And it's adorable, and it's so funny because he's like, I love you, don't do this, don't marry him, marry me instead. And it cracks me up, but it's kind of nefarious because you find out later on that this lawyer, George Stickle, has been stealing money from Elaine May. And what's funny is when Walter Matthau marries Henrietta, he becomes so much more responsible. He starts having goals. He stops caring about money. What he starts caring about is how everything is run. Because they got married, right? They go on their honeymoon, and it's so adorable. Like, there's a scene where she's wearing this dress, and she's wearing it wrong. So he helps her out, fix it. It's hilarious, but adorable at the same time. And his idea is, since he's married her now, he's like, okay, now how do I kill this girl? I want her money. I don't want to marry her. I want to, now that I'm married to her, I want to steal her money. So he has an idea to kill her. But as he's doing all this, he's taking care of her. Like, she wears clothes that still have the price tag on them because they're so brand new, and he cuts off the price tags. And then after the honeymoon, they get back. Her housekeeper, her driver, doesn't pick them up. He gets back to the house where she lives, and all the housekeepers are using it as like a flop house. They're like having sex in the room. They're spending more money than they should because he finds the book. He finds their little catalog book or whatever, the numbers, the logbook. And they're getting paid outrageous money. And he is furious because he just sees it as total disrespect. So he calls them all together and says, listen, you're all fired. I want you out of here within 3 hours. I'm calling the police because they've been milking money off this rich girl, this Henrietta. And he cleans house. He brings his own people in, and when he brings his own people in, they start cleaning up the house because like the house is sort of in disrepair. The house finally gets cleaned. It's great. It's wonderful. And then there's like a little story where she works as a college. She like studies plants, and what do you call it? They talk about the story about how like when you discover a new species of plant, it gets named after you. And they're like, oh, that's curious. That's cool. That's cool. So she discovers this plant on their honeymoon. And instead of naming it after herself, Henrietta, she names it after Henry. And it's so sweet and adorable. And he's like, oh, okay. You sure you want to avoid immortality? You're going to name it after me? That's like, okay, fine. And she gives him like a little medallion. The little medallion has a little plant in it. So he finally figures out a way to kill her because he wants to get the money, right? Meanwhile, the butler's like, dude, you're falling in love with her. You know that, right? Like you're more responsible and you have goals and you're not as aloof as you used to be. And Walter Matthau's like, quiet, I want her money. So they're going on this field trip and it requires like going out in the wilderness. They go in the canoe and shit. So they're in the canoe, right? Henrietta and Henry. They're on the canoe. And then she's like, do you hear that? And he's like, what? Those are rapids. Oh my God. And he's like, Walter Matthau. And they go through the rapids. The canoe capsizes. And she gets stuck on a branch and he swims to shore. And meanwhile, he's like, oh, this is it. Yeah, I'll be right there. Just hold on to the branch, Henrietta. I'll be right there. Rolling his eyes like, I'm not going to save her. So as he's walking away, the first thing he sees is the plant. And he's like, Henrietta, look, it's the plant. And then he looks for his medallion. It fell off when the canoe capsized. And he realizes that he's in love with her. Because the first thing after leaving her for dead, he calls for her name to show her the plant. And he looks at her and he's like, all right, Henrietta, let go of the branch. I'll swim out to you. So she let go of the branch. He swims out to her, pulls her ashore. And it's so sweet, even though it's completely awkward because since they're filming by actual rapids, the overdub is completely overdubbed. Like you could tell, like they recorded it in the studio 2 years after the fact or whatever. But it's so sweet because he's drying her hair off, and she's like asking him again, like, "Hey, can you come to go to the college with me? You have a degree to actually teach history. You should do that. I want you to teach history with me while I teach science." And he just looks at her and he says, "Yeah, okay, I think I will." And then she's like, "You're going to always be here to take care of me, right, Henry?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm going to be here to take care of you." And it's so sweet. It is so sweet. And that was another movie where it's like immediately after it was over, I wanted to watch it again. But that's a sweet movie. It's a sweet little Walter Matthau movie with Elaine May. Like I said, don't bother watching the trailer. Everything that's in the trailer was cut from the 3-hour cut. But it's such a good little movie. And the reason why I said it before, but I didn't really wrap it up. But the thing that was nefarious about the lawyer is he was in cahoots with the housemaid and all the housekeep. They were all sucking money off her. And after that happened, they weren't able to suck money off her anymore. So he saved her financials. He took care of her. It was so wonderful, even though it's like kind of nefarious, like he's trying to kill her. But at the end, he fell in love with her and he got more responsible. And it's a fun little movie. It's a fun little Walter Matthau movie. I highly recommend it to anybody. So let's go to the comments. Let's see. We have A New Leaf is great, though I'm very interested to see the original cut. I agree that the final film should work really well. Yes. I wonder what the original cut was. Because as I was watching this movie, I forgot to mention this during my review, but I was mostly talking about the plot synopsis to sell the movie. But the thing I noticed about this that seems very amateurish is that almost, because I watched the Blu-ray, almost every scene, the actors are sweating so bad. Like normally in a movie, I think people get dabbed, for every scene so it matches. But as you watch the scene, the lights must be fucking hot because they are sweating. And since it's her first movie, I don't really think she knew that, hey, wipe the sweat off between takes, But I found that so funny that almost every actor in this movie is horribly sweating, and they get sweatier as the scene progresses. And there were some odd choices in the framing. Like there's a scene where they're drinking this. She has this horrible drink she likes. She likes this very sugary drink, and Walter Matthau hates it because it's just like pure sugar. But like the way it's framed, like the camera should be closer to the table and like looking up, but it's like a little further away so you could see their feet and the table. It's very awkward framing, and it's because it's like her first movie. It's kind of amateurish, and there's like a lot of things like that. There's like a lot of like handheld stuff in here, like off-putting handheld stuff. Like why is it handheld? Um, and there's just like some interesting little moments in this that you could tell, like, okay, this is not like a professional filmmaker. You know what I mean? It's sort of a person who's making their first movie, and he doesn't quite understand certain things about the lighting and about the camera framing and stuff like that. But it's interesting to see that. Let's see. The Walter Matthau plotline in California Suite is definitely the funniest one. Matthau and old age makeup is always great. Oh yeah, California Suite. California Suite. Was he in old age makeup in California Suite? I don't recall. Because I think he was just like a regular guy in that. Unless you're talking about the one I wanted to see. Because I've been wanting to see that one where I described where he has the daughter who's locked in the closet and they're trying to get her out. I don't know the title of that one. I want to know. The California Suite plot line, and that one is where he sleeps with a escort or a hooker, and she's like so drunk and passed out in bed he's trying to get her out before Elaine May gets in there, and he's trying to hide the hooker escort while Elaine May's in the room. And then it gets very serious about them talking about divorce because she finds an escort / hooker in the bed. That's the California Suite plotline. Sounds nice. Might have to check this one out as well. Yes. Yes, that's so sweet. The flower sucker for the old school. Yes, right? Oh my gosh. I think he was. Wasn't that the joke? He was hanging out with an older man? It was his brother. His brother's son is having a bar mitzvah, and I don't think he was in old age makeup. I think he was just getting older at that point. I don't think it was old age makeup, but I do like that movie though. Maybe I have to watch it on Blu-ray. Maybe if I watch it on Blu-ray, I can see it because I've only watched the DVD of California Suite, so maybe there is some old age makeup in it. So I'm not sure about that. Alrighty, so we're an hour 21 in the stream. I've caught up with all the comments, and that was my DVD haul. So it sounds like you guys enjoyed it. That's very good and all and well. I don't know if Luke's still here. It looks like he's gone. Luke left me. He left me. He's gone. But yeah, this is the haul of this week. A lot of cash, but it was worth it. It was worth it to continue my collection, which I highly, highly enjoyed. Highly, highly enjoyed. LOL, fair enough. It's been a while since I've seen it. Yes, he might just be old in that one because that one's in the mid 80s, I believe, or early 80s. My favorite plot line in California Suite is the Maggie Smith and Michael Caine plot line. That is my favorite plot line of that movie. Because I love the character of Sydney. I love the character of what's her name? What's her name? I'm gonna Google it because I got time. California Suite Maggie Smith. It's funny because I know her fake movie in it. It's called No Left Turns. Who does she? Diana? Yes, she plays Diana Barry, and it's such a sad storyline with her and Michael Caine. I really like that one. Yeah, I like that one. So if you go see California Suite, I really like the Michael Caine plotline. Everything else is like second, third, and stuff. I do like the Alan Alda, Jane. What's her name? Jane. Oh, Jane. Peter Fonda. No, Jane Fonda. Oh my God. Let's see. That's a good one too. They pull off. Yes. I kind of wish it was the whole movie, but you can't really have a whole movie with just that thin plot line with Maggie Smith and Michael Caine. Let's see. Do you prefer original audio or mix audio? I don't know. I can't tell you because it's been a while since I've seen the original Fantasia. I've mostly watched the new audio. I don't have a problem with that. Um, Seems fine to me. Seems okay to me. Let's see. Let's see. Is there any movies you'd like to own physically but don't due to them being unavailable or just haven't gotten by yet? There's tons of movies I haven't bought yet. There's the movies like that I need to rebuy because I left them at my mom's. Like Hannibal, I need to rebuy. I need to buy Red Dragon. I've never owned Red Dragon, but I'd like to buy Red Dragon. I need to get Twister because I left the copy of Twister with my mom. I need to get another copy of California Suite for myself. I need to get a copy of Presumed Innocent. I'll probably get a copy of Frantic now that I have like Blu-rays and all that stuff. I want to get a copy of Frantic. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think. If there's any other movies that are not available that I want. That's like that's a hard question for me to answer. Because I think I have most of the movies that I want, but there's tons of movies that I want to buy. You know what I mean? Like I want to upgrade my Man on Fire. I have a DVD of Man on Fire. I would love a Blu-ray of Man on Fire. I would love a Blu-ray of Revenge. In fact, I want to upgrade all of my Tony Scott movies. I want to get The Hunger. I want. Um, think, Sponge, think. But yeah, there's tons of movies I would love to buy. Yes, Presumed Innocent. Dude, I love Presumed Innocent. Like, you know what's funny? I think I'm a bigger fan of normal Harrison Ford. Like, Star Wars and Indiana Jones are great, but I'll watch The Fugitive and Presumed Innocent any day of the fucking week. I love those movies. I love Presumed Innocent. I loved freaking The Fugitive. And what I've seen of Frantic is really awesome. I haven't watched the whole movie. I only watched clips from my Gone Girl trailer. But from what I've seen, that looks like right up my alley. Yeah, I'm more of a regular everyday man Harrison Ford fan because what's that movie? Sabrina. I like Sabrina, even though I believe the original is better with Humphrey Bogart and Aubrey Hepburn. I think that one's better than the Harrison Ford one, but I enjoy it. Spoiler alerts for my next DVD haul. I bought Charlie Varick. That's another Walter Matthau movie where he like robs money from a bank, and it turns out the bank is owned by the mob. So he's basically on the run from the mob. And it's one of those movies that sort of inspired Quentin Tarantino because there's a line directly lifted from Charlie Varick that's used in Pulp Fiction. And the line is, I'm going to go to work on him with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. I remember that was so like off-putting because I was watching Charlie Varick a few years ago. And it's such a weird movie because you think the whole movie is going to be about him robbing the bank. But not. Like the robbing of the bank is like the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. And then he's like on the run and then everyone from the bank heist dies. So the rest of the movie you find out is like owned by a freaking the mobsters or whatever, and he has to outrun the mob or whatnot, or whoever money it is that's in that bank. Great movie. I need to rewatch it because I've forgotten the details of it, but it was so weird hearing that line, like verbatim, like I'm going to work on a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. I was like, what? Holy smokes! I also ordered Cowboy Bebop, the movie, because I started watching Cowboy Bebop. I'm really into it. Holy shit, I really love Cowboy Bebop. It's wonderful. It's another thing, like what after watching these movies, like I want to rewatch them again instantly. I bought the new Italian Job 4K. Well, the Michael Caine one, because I like that. We're the Brown Preservation Society. I love that. Let's see. Let me go to my eBay because I have a whole list of saved movies that I want to get. I want to get Drive. Not the Drive you're thinking about. It's like a 90s movie starring the guy from John Wick. What's his name? Mark Dacascos, and Brittany Murphy's in it. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Show you the cover. Yeah. I want to watch that just because I like that dude in John Wick 3 because he plays the fanboy who loves John Wick. He says, dude, I love your work. Oh my God, I don't own Rain Man, the Tom Cruise movie with Dustin Hoffman. I'd love to get that. Licorice Pizza, I've been wanting to rewatch. Blast from the Past, I've been wanting to rewatch with Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone. I want to get that for my DVD collection. Like if you were to say, "Hey Frank, I want you to do a TV show," what would you do? I would do a TV adaptation for Blast of the Past because I think that's great television of a guy coming from like the 50s or 60s coming to the 90s. That's television. Um, I need to get a copy of Home Alone because when I moved out, I left all the Christmas movies with my mom. That was the agreement. I'm leaving all the Christmas movies with you. So I need to upgrade my Home Alone. I'll probably get the 4K because I really love that. I want to pick up Cruising with Al Pacino, the William Friedkin movie. That one I did use for my trailer, I believe. My no, I didn't use it. It was slightly inspired by it. I did that horror movie trailer a few years ago called Hacker with Jake Gyllenhaal. The fan trailer I did. That was sort of inspired by Cruising, just like the aesthetic of it. I want to get Dune from Arrow release. I think it's Arrow DVD, Arrow Films, because I have the regular release of Dune, the David Lynch one, not the new one. I don't care about the new one. I want to watch the David Lynch one. The Santa Claus trilogy. I want to pick up. Been dying to do a retrospective on that where I parody video essays because I want to talk about how the Santa Claus trilogy is the best superhero trilogy. And then let's see what else do I got here in my saved files. Gonna keep going. Nope, I don't need that anymore. I have a copy of that. I need Wallace and Gromit, the original films where he's like the moon cheese and the wrong trousers. I want to get that. The Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart and Bacall. I never seen that, but I know that they're married, and I think that's the movie that they met on, or it could have been the other movie they met on. Shit, I forgot. I might have seen The Big Sleep. I know there's a movie I did see with Bacall and Humphrey Bogart. I do love them I love Humphrey Bogart. He's like the original Bruce Willis. Let's see. Let's go through some more. I'll go through like 2 more pages and then go through the comments. I want to get that shitty case from Criterion of Citizen Kane because I don't know if you guys know, but like the Citizen Kane like Criterion like opens up like this way and then downwards. It's so hilarious, and it's like, oh geez, I want to get that. What else here? Let's go one more page. One more page. We'll see. California Suites, and then one more page. Come on, there's got to be more DVDs. There's got to be more. Shaft, the Criterion release of Shaft. I want to get, and I got to give you some more than that. I thought there's going to be like some pages where it's just full of it. Let's see. I want to get the 4K of Edge of Tomorrow. And then, that's what I want to do. I want to get, for my Frank Ireland collection, I want to, for June, I actually want to do some LGBT movies. I want to get Brokeback Mountain. I want to get, But I'm a Cheerleader. I want to get The Birdcage. I want to get the Fu Manchu or whatever, Thanks for the Memories, Julie Newmar movie. And what's the other one I want to get? Oh, God. It's something along those lines, like, But I'm a Cheerleader, Brokeback Mountain. What is it? Shit. Oh, Desert Hearts. Desert Hearts. I want to watch that as well. It's like a whole list of movies I've been wanting to watch or rewatch because a few years ago I watched, I think it was 2020 because, movies were dead. So on YouTube and Vudu, they had like free movies with ads, and one of them was The Birdcage. And I thought that movie was fucking hilarious. Like when that dude walks as John Wayne, he says, was it too much? And he says, yeah, it was perfect. I just didn't know John Wayne walked like that. And it just cracked me the hell up. Also, hang on, let's see. Yes. So last but not least, on my DVD purchases, I want to get The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro. Now, I don't understand why it was so bashed when it originally came out. I like that Wolfman movie. It's not the best, but I think it's highly enjoyable. I do like the Wolfman movie. So let's go to the comments now that I've given a list of DVDs I've been wanting to get. Let's see. Is Hannibal good? Heard a lot of mixed stuff. Love Silence. Love Red Dragon. You might as well finish it. You've already watched 2 of them. Finish the 3rd one. Hannibal I like. Hannibal I highly enjoy. For those who don't know, I love Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling when I was in middle school, not even high school. I was in middle school on the playground reading Red Dragon and Hannibal, and I loved it. And it was so funny too because the teacher would say like, you should be, playing on the playground, and I'm like, no, I'm reading Hannibal. Leave me alone. So I love that. I love that. And then when the TV show came out, I thought the TV show was so wonderful because I always thought nobody could top Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter until I saw Matt Mickelson. He added a whole nother layer to Hannibal Lecter, and I think that's fantastic because I never thought that role could ever be filled again. I didn't think much of Brian Cox in Manhunter. I don't really like that movie. Like I know a lot of people like it, but it's so lo-fi. It's too lo-fi for me. It's too stylish. Like it's so like it's like proto like Miami Vice. It's so fucking weird. Because there's hardly any like setting. It's so like I don't know, stark. And it's like weird 80s art. I don't know what that artist is, but it just reminds me of that. Sorry, excuse me. But yes, I do like Hannibal. Gary Oldman does a huge, awesome performance in that. And there's some quotable lines from that movie I like Cordell. I love that line. Let's see. 100% agree. Harrison Ford works great as the normal guy. 90s might be the best decade. Yes. Dude, I love Harrison Ford as the Everman. Good news. The Prince of Egypt is coming to 4K Blu-ray remastered. Yes. That is on my list. I want to get The Prince of Egypt. That is a good movie. Frantic is really awesome. Well done. Hitchcockian thriller. Dude, I so want to watch because the clips I used for the Gone Girl trailer, sold me. I want to watch that movie, but I only have the full screen DVD, and I don't want to watch that. Licorice Pizza is tied with Punk Join Love as favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Dude, I've been dying to watch Licorice Pizza again. I really do, because, oh, man, it's like a weird movie. It feels like it feels like the movie is like split up in sections, and each section is like its own movie. It's weird. I'm sure that's Paul Thomas Anderson's intent, because there's no mistakes with Paul Thomas Anderson. When he does something, it's intentional, and it feels like every one of those things are a different segment or a different story. It's great. It's like almost like a different movie with every scene. It's so cool. Like the whole Bradley Cooper scene. Holy hell, that is fantastic. Arrow release is really nice. A lot of goodies on it. Yes, I want to get the Arrow release of Dune. Have you seen Shaft in Africa? Direct? I have never seen any of the Shaft movies. I've only seen the Samuel Jackson movies, the 2001 with Christian Bale, and then the more recent one where he has a son. I've only seen those ones. I need to see the original ones. I need. Let's see what else we got here. Wolfman 2010 is wonderful. Did deserve the hate it got. Really solid. Yeah, dude. 2010 Wolfman is so awesome. I like it. I know people didn't like it. I like it, right? Proto Miami Vice, way to put it. I don't love the term neon noir, but it's accurate. Yeah, dude, that movie is neon noir totally, because it's just, I don't know. It's so lo-fi. It is like the bare minimum for like set direction, and it's intentional because it's supposed to be stylistic like that. And I can't get into Manhunter. I don't really like Manhunter. It's like so lo-fi. It's so like bare bones. I don't like it. I do like Thief though. Did you guys ever see Michael Mann's Thief? That shit's awesome, dude. That shit is. I want to watch that now. Not really. I'd rather watch these romantic comedies right now, but I like Thief. Thief is really good. We're down to 3 viewers now, so I guess we'll wrap up. So, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to close with some hype because I have some notes here, because every week I forget to do this. So next week I'm going to do a retrospective Q&A kind of thing with Anthony. We're going to talk about Chief Brody Rules, my channel. And with that channel, I just want to go through the history of it, because there's certain things I don't want to forget about. Because the older I get, the more stories I'm going to forget. So I want to do something where I talk about the history of how I got into editing, what went into some projects, what was the mindset, and then hopefully give some advice for editors out there of how to make your own fan trailers, or how to approach it in any a certain way. Because I just, there's only so much time on this earth, and I don't want to be selfish. I want to give some advice of what got me into editing. Don't get discouraged. Don't try to make a fan trailer right out the gate. Start small. I want to talk about that stuff. That's really what I want to do with the Chief Brody Rules video. Not only is it a retrospective, but I want to give some knowledge to the audience of like, it wasn't all just nonsense. It was thought out of what I wanted to do, and it was all building to what I wanted to do. So there's that. That's next week. That's next stream, next Sunday. Then the other thing I want to plug is tomorrow at noon is the next episode of the Ireland Collection. Since you guys are watching this, I'll spoil it for you. Tomorrow's episode is at noon, and it is Terminator 2. I'll be talking about the film Terminator 2 by James Cameron. So tomorrow, check that out. And then recently contacted with my friend Jolie. I don't know if she's out there listening. Probably not. I don't know. But Jolie said that, because I said, like, I'm doing like a live show. I do unboxings of toys and such. And she's like, I have a whole box of Batman stuff that I think you should have. And she showed me some stuff. I'm like, girl, that's an episode. So she's busy planning her wedding. So we got to do it like later on, probably in March, hopefully. But I want to actually have her come in here because we live locally and actually do the live show together where we unbox the old Batman stuff and then talk about our favorite Batman moments, specifically the Tim Burton movies, because I want to save some for later. Like if we do another episode together, I kind of want to do an unboxing of the McFarlane Dark Knight toys and then talk about the Dark Knight trilogy with her. I think that would be good for an episode, depending how this first one goes, because it's been a long time since I talked to her. I've only talked to her through like Instagram messaging. So actually having her come here in person to talk about the Batman toys she has and like Batman memories of how we got into Batman, and then just talking about the Burton movies, I think that would be really fun. So that's going to be in March. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully she has time. Wedding. I can't even imagine planning a wedding. Like I can't even imagine being asked to go to a wedding. So like it's completely, different language to me. So if she has time, I want to do that show with her in March. And then Monday, I'm having a little meeting with my friend Sarah from the Christmas episode. I want to do like a movie of the month book club with her, where she picks a movie and I pick a movie. We sit down and we talk about it for an hour. I think that's what I want to do. I want to aim for an hour or something like this, an hour 41. That seems like a good time to do a stream. But yeah, I just want to learn about talking about movies, be more open, learn how to talk, not be such a mush mouth, not to talk everything is fantastic or great or whatever, but try to find some meaning, and then somehow be open to more movies. Because what I found so interesting about her when we talked on the Christmas show is that a lot of her favorite movies were like Hallmark movies that still sounded good. So she has like a taste that is like really well done. And she has a lot of good favorite movies. And I want to, experience different movies from somebody else's point of view, learn how to discuss openly with somebody else who has completely different taste in movies. But yeah, that's my goals for that. But yeah, that's fantastic. But tomorrow, there's so much hype. There's some bad news that happened to me recently. I don't really want to, talk about it. But like with all this goodness and doing this stream and talking about the movies I love, it's like I can't be sad. There's so much good here. I'm going to be talking about Chief Brody Rules, talking about like legacy and leaving some information behind to help others out, talking about what inspired me, and then talking about Terminator 2 tomorrow from my friend Elizabeth. Her name's Elizabeth, but I call her Elizabeth. From the Dracula movie. It's hilarious. But yeah, there's good shit going on. Good shit going on. And I wanted to plug that before I wrapped up the thing. So now, one more time, going to check out the comments before I head out. Let's see. Anything you can say about the next pilot? You know what? I was actually thinking about that. I was actually thinking about what should I talk to Stuart about for pilot. I'm not sure. Thank you, Frank. Had a wonderful time. Lots of fun. Looking forward to the next stream with Anthony. Yep. Good. And then Terminator 2, classic. And then, sounds lovely. A Batman unboxing episode would be fun. Yep. And then, very excited. Sounds great. Yep. Sounds all good. So I'm very excited about all that. But I should meet up with Stuart. I've been thinking about that. That last stream we did was like 3 solid hours. It was insane. But hopefully the next pilot we do is maybe shorter. But yeah, I don't know what we talk about. So I guess tweet at me suggestions and tag Stuart. So thank you guys for watching. It's been a great stream. But yeah, thanks guys. And goodbye.